Good morning, Robert Davis here with you. This tutorial came by way of a request for a little assistance from a subscriber. So let's get started. I'm going to fire up, show you the structure of the database, open database, and we're using quotations. That's the database. And here's the structure of the quotations table, which is the main table. You have a quotation ID, which is auto-inc and maintained by the database engine. This is absolute database, by the way. And we have a total that will get updated from the order items in the orders table by client, a notes field just for fun, a name, a phone, and an email. And let's look at the orders table. We have the quotation ID, which is related to the relationships maintained internally to the quotation ID in the quotations table, a description. Let's make this, oh no, I'm not on restructure table. It's a string field for the item description, and the amount, which is a float. And if you see over here in quotations, the total is a float also. So we can have decimal points. So let's close this so we don't get an exclusive lock on the table, and minimize that. Start up Delphi. So let's look at the design of the main form. And here we have it. From here on up is the main form, a little bit of contact information. And from here on down is the order items. And the objective is to calculate the order items per quotation into the main tables field. So, which is let's see, the total field. Here we have the database, DB quotations, and the path to it, file name. And in table 1, and that's the main quotations table with the demographics and the total for each order. And then table 2, which maintains the order items. And then we have a query that we'll use to extract the information from the orders table to the main table total field. And we'll look down here at the SQL property, and we see it's blank. We don't need that because we're doing it in code behind it. And then we fire it exactly when we need to fire it. So we can click OK there. Now let's look at how this works. So here we have this upper part is the demographics, a little bit of contact information, and a read-only field to show the quote total that's being stored in the main table. And our notes field for fun. That's a blob field, by the way. And we use the DB memo as the field type. And then down here is the quotation order items per quote. And you can have multiple quotes for the same client. That's possible also. And then you see our query is calculating the quote total that comes from table 2 or the orders table, those items and their amounts. You see, as we scroll through this, they're all different. And we can go to the end. Scroll back and forth. And every time we scroll, it updates. It's on the after scroll event for the main table, the quotations table. Now let's look at the code behind. And here we are. See, this is each of these events is programmed. After scroll of the main table, after post of the orders table, the table 2, and after delete of table 2. And then we have this procedure that we've written called get quote total, and we can look at it down here. This is the money maker that does the heavy lifting. So we declare a var of cust ID that's a type integer, and then we load the cust ID by the field name quotation ID as an integer into the cust ID. And then with query total, we do this SQL, we add these lines. Select sum, and this is the heavy lifting part. Sum the amount as amount from orders where quotation ID equals this cust ID. And then we load the param by name cust ID as integer equals cust ID. And then of course you want to store that permanently, the results of that permanently, into the main table. So we put the main table in edit mode, and then we load the field by name total as float equals a query order total field by name amount as float, and then we post that to the main table. And you want to have you see these 3 events. The after post has the get quote total, after delete get quote total, and after scroll get quote total. You would be writing a lot of code if you had to code these individually, but we wrote it as a pretty much use anywhere procedure down here. So get your head around that, and let's move on to look again at the application. So here we go. Demographics up here, and order items down here, and totals. Those are read-only fields, as you can see. So let's add a user. Let's add a quotation. And we'll say, you'll kind. There's no quote total because there's no items in the quote. So let the one, we'll say, you'll log. This is all fictitious information, by the way. You see the quote total is updating every time we add an item. And it stores it permanently in the quotations table for that client and that particular quotation. So if you scroll off of it, scroll back to it, it's all saved and everything. And of course the relationship is maintained by the absolute database engine itself, and the fields that are related to quotation ID in the main table, the quotation ID in the orders table. So you also want to be able to delete a record. So here we go. Delete this, and you see how it updates the quote total. So right now, let's see, I think the index is not set, it's just in the input order. So let's use the index full name, start this again, and you see it's in alphabetical order by name. So that's it. Let's look at the source code one more time so you can familiarize yourself with a parameterized query. And this is what we get, what we code. And it gets the sum of the amount as amount from the orders table, where the quotation ID equals the cust ID, which is the variable that we declared up here, and then loaded here. And then finally, we put the main table into edit mode, post the total, and exit with the post. So there you have it. It's that simple. And I hope you got something out of this. I've enjoyed spending this time with you. Again, my name is Robert Davis, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Thank you. Bye.